Hey guys, it's Tara, and I'm here to talk to you guys about how I manage life when I'm on IVs.
I got cystic fibrosis. See, I've got cystic fibrosis.
So basically, for me, IVs are kind of infrequent since I'm post-transplant, but I did have a PICC line in just February of this year, straight through till August. And I was on only 4 weeks of antibiotics, but I'll talk a little bit about that. But pre-transplant, so almost 6 years ago, I was on a lot of IVs, and I was on them all the time, every day, every night, constant. My biggest tip for managing your time when on IVs is kind of schedule your days out, but be able to roll with the punches. So usually when I'm on IVs, I am at home. Luckily, the way it works, I usually get a PICC line in, and then they send a home care nurse who will bring all of the dressing supplies, the IV bags, the medicine, the tubes, the machine, and a nice little fanny pack, actually. So the pump goes in the fanny pack along with the bag of meds. More recently, that bag of meds is not just saline anymore. The medication is actually mixed right into it. So when I've been on IV lately, I'm hooked up to that bag 24/7, essentially. The medication runs on its own. The pump is all pre-programmed. So my previous stint was every 8 hours. I was doing, it was running a dose over 3 hours. Just to pump the meds in at a quicker rate. And then in between those doses, it was pushing 1 milliliter of the solution at a time. And this was the first time that I didn't have to switch from the saline bag that was like hooked up for all day and all night to the smaller bag that had the actual medication in it. And this was like super awesome. One, because I didn't have to be home whenever my dose was running, and I've been on IVs before where you're on 2 medications and you're literally running one and then you're switching to the next one to get that dose in. And then when that ends, you're back to saline for a little bit and then you're right back onto your next medication. So I thought this was pretty awesome. And the fact that the machine was like pre-programmed was kind of like futuristic, I guess, compared to like 6 years ago. Because I literally did not have to think about anything at all. I had to remember to plug in my pump every 3 days or so to charge the battery. And it would beep at me to remind me. So I basically just carried the charger with me wherever I was going. Not that I really went out a whole lot. But it helped that if I did want to go out or I was doing like a workout or somewhere, I knew that once it started beeping, like it had to be charged within an hour or two, but it would still keep running. So that was just like freaking awesome. So, I mean, managing my schedule around that, I didn't have to think about anything. My meds ran. I was constantly being hydrated in between meds, so I didn't have to worry about bringing extra water with me anywhere. And the only annoying thing that I did have to schedule was showering. With PICC lines in, they can't exactly get wet. And the way mine was placed in my upper arm, I couldn't reach it to unhook myself. So I had to have someone else unscrew the line from my PICC line in order for me to put on, like, I have a little waterproof, kind of like a swimming cap, but it goes over your arm. That keeps it from getting wet, so I didn't have to, like, try and tape with saran wrap or anything. Like, that let me kind of be independent with my showers, but at the same time, I couldn't, like, get myself ready to shower. I don't know, like that's not the right word, but just unhook myself so that I could get in the shower and like get ready. So I did have a few days where I probably really needed to shower and I didn't because there was just no one to unhook me. And not everyone is comfortable with needles, PICC lines, IV, even though you're literally just unscrewing, like nothing different than like taking the top off of a jar. A lot of my friends like weren't comfortable with that, and I wasn't going to make them do that. So I did find there were a few days where I kind of was like driving to my fiance's work, and I was like, Hey, I need to shower and I know you're in this meeting or this telephone conference or whatever. Can you just like quick unhook me? I'll be back in like, I would like to say 20 minutes, but realistically, I take a lot longer to shower. So I would be like, hey, I'll be back in like an hour unless you can come home to hook me up again. So I would like quickly shower, dry my hair a bit, and then head back to his work and be like, okay, you can hook me back up. Oh, another tip, I guess my second, like number two tip would be to definitely have either your team or the home nurse teach you how to do your own bag swaps, tube changes, and if possible, even your own PICC line like dressing changes. So I was allowed to change my tubes, flip my bag, like when my saline bag had run out. I think they take 24 hours, maybe. I was allowed to like swap to the next bag, so they would deliver like a week's worth at a time so that I could do that and I wasn't sitting around the house waiting for a home nurse to show up, which they're not always on time. Understandable because you're dealing with sick people and we just don't have schedules that we can rely on. But for myself, it was annoying to, if they said like, oh, we'll be there right at 10 o'clock and then it's like noon and you're still waiting for the home nurse. Like if you had any other plans for that day, they're kind of out the window. And I have two dogs who kind of want to jump in on this video, but I'll try and keep them out for now. One who is very anxious, and every time somebody comes over, she loses her mind. So it was basically more upsetting and stressful for me. Hi, baby. This is Ellie. Look, it's you. Thank you for the kisses. First, oh, hello. Yeah. She wants to be in the video. So it was more stressful for us when people were coming to the door, wasn't it? You know, you don't like people at the door. So that made it harder for me to have a nurse come over even. So definitely learning to do that your own. And if your partner or your parents, siblings, whoever is comfortable doing the dressing changes, I ended up going to my local kind of like walk-in clinic / home nurse clinic. I don't really know what it's called particularly, like home care's clinic, I guess. And they did my dressing change. It was once a week, I believe. But I did, like if I went away on like a weekend trip and I wasn't there for that appointment, my fiance was comfortable enough to do the dressing change if I kind of guided him step by step. My parents used to do it for me. Same with flushing the line. I mean, my youngest sister, she would have been like grade 6 or 7, which is really weird because she turned 19 yesterday. Or no, 2 days ago, I guess, when you guys are seeing this. Which makes me really sad and I feel old, but she would come home like for lunch when she was in elementary school and she would flush my IV line for me. So there's definitely a lot of options if you have people to help you out. You can always get extensions for your PICC lines to like make it so that you can unscrew them yourself and you can do your own flushes. I wish I had known about that ahead of time, I guess, but I didn't. So I had to have somebody else doing it. I would have been able to unhook myself to shower, which would be nice. So that's kind of I have 2 tips in there, I guess, for you, for being on IVs and kind of managing your time with how I've been hooked up. And, you know, just focusing on not stressing out, like getting to class is too hard or work. I'm sure your teachers and bosses can kind of be a little more flexible if you're upfront and open with them, like saying, hey, I'm on IVs. The first few days are kind of hectic. Would you mind if I tried to do as much work from home, or if I came in a few hours late, or maybe have a friend in class that could take notes for you? That would be helpful as well. I am fortunate enough, I guess, in this situation that I'm not allowed really to be working, and I'm done school. I'm just waiting for lungs, so I had absolutely nothing to be doing. So even my scheduling around doing nothing wasn't really that hard, I guess, other than showering. But yeah, so hopefully that's helpful for some of you guys, and I look forward to talking with you again next week. Stay tuned, and remember to stay salty.